Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tom Schlueter with this week's Tom's Take. It's actually good to be here on a Tuesday when I normally do this rather than out on the road somewhere. It's good to be home. It's good to be home, and it's good to be in God's timing. God's timing. I want to share a little bit this morning about the history of Arlington, the city where I live in. Arlington is halfway between Dallas and Fort Worth. Arlington is the home of water parks and Six Flags and the Texas Rangers and the Dallas Cowboys. Uh, but there's just a special grace and mercy upon this city that I have sensed ever since we moved here 35 years ago. We've had a tremendous amount of blessing falling on this city, had a tremendous awareness of the great relationships that the Lord has allowed me to develop with city leaders, whether they be city council, whether they be the school board, whether they be fire and police officers. It's just an amazing, amazing place to be in. Let me go back a little bit in the history. When the city was founded back in the late 1800s, there was a main street and a center street. Really amazing how we can make up our names, can't we? Anyway, there at the middle of Center and Main was a fountain. Now, I've seen pictures of that fountain back in those historical photos, and there are wagons that are full of cotton and other produce coming in from the farms and the ranches around where they would do the trading and where they would make sure that all that is needed by the people and just the transactions that were taking place in a normal city back in that time. But I want you to focus on that fountain in the middle. It was a mineral well, like some of the other cities in the area. One, for instance, Mineral Wells, which is about an hour and a half west of here. There were cities that had minerals that were being brought up by the water beneath the earth. And these mineral well waters were being used by people to take care of digestive problems. Many believe that they had healing aspects to them. I'm not sure about all of that, but I've had mineral waters in the past, and it always feel better when I'm taking those. I'm not trying to espouse that. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just trying to say there was a mineral water well in the center of Arlington back when it was founded. It was a very intriguing looking well because it came up and it had four sides to it, and on each side there was a lion, the head of a lion. And out of the head of the lion was the water was coming forth into the basin of the well where people could gather water and take it home with them. Well, over the years, with the progression of the city, it growing downtown and everything else, the well was basically capped over because there were buildings now in that area, City Hall and the first library that was built. Matter of fact, there in the first library, there's many times that we went down there because they had a display down there which demonstrated that showed you the history of this well. And they actually had tapped into some of the well water down below, and you could get a drink of that if you wanted to out of like a little water fountain. And it was really unique to hear that history, but it was all covered up. And downtown continued to explode. New buildings, new major apartments and townhomes, and a new city hall, and a new beautiful library. And all of this was coming up in the middle of downtown Arlington. It's been just a beautiful thing to watch as these new buildings have been formed, because I believe that that's all a part of the prayers that we offered up to the Lord to use this city as a redemptive city, and that it would be a giver city as its as redemptive nature is, and that people would gather here for memories. They would gather here to be refreshed, whether it be through entertainment or through other venues. The times are changing. Something happened really remarkable over this last weekend. As many of you know, we moved into the new year on the Hebrew calendar, 5784, Rosh Chodesh, Shana Tova, all of you. We were up ahead of the year with Glory of Zion and Chuck Pierce and many others. a very powerful gathering as we heard about the door of promise that we're going through, the promise that is going to be a strengthening of who we are over the enemies that have so plagued our nation and worn us down. Matter of fact, I want to read to you from Daniel 7. I'm not going to read the whole chapter here because you know that there's this development of evil structures that are wanting to come against the body. But I want to pick up in verse 25, speaking about one of these kings who are going to reign over the earth. He will, this is from the Passion Translation, he will speak blasphemous words against the Most High and try to wear down the holy ones of the Most High. That would be you and me. He will try to alter the set periods of time and change God's decree, and the saints will be subjected to his power for a time, times, and half a time. But when the heavenly court convenes, his ruling power will be stripped from him. His authority will be abolished and destroyed forever. Then the Most High will give to his holy ones the kingdom and the dominion and the grandeur of all the kingdoms on earth. All rulers and authorities will serve and obey him, for his kingdom is everlasting. We have been in that period of time where the enemy has worn us down with his blasphemous words, whether they're coming from governmental structures or from media or entertainment. And the church has basically bought into it. We were worn down by it. So we started compromising. We started giving in. We started saying, well, if we will just agree with them on some issues, they'll leave us alone. That never works, does it? But what we've ended up with is a very stale, lukewarm, inefficient ecclesia, church. But God, he has promised that as we moved into this new year, that he was going to refortify us. He was going to reset the times. He was going to do a turnaround. He was going to start taking authority through his saints, not on his own, but through us, through his saints, to legislate his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And we would see the dismantling of these structures of evil that are wearing down the saints. And I'll guarantee you, the enemy's not going to stop. He's going to continue to try to wear you down. He's going to continue to try to persuade you. But now is the time to say, no, God has set a new time. He's reset us. And now it's time to move ahead with strength and authority for his kingdom. What does that have to do with a mineral water well in the center of Arlington, Texas? Well, on Saturday, as we moved into the new year, we were up at Glory of Zion, but there was something happening in Arlington that I was completely unaware of. You know, sometimes God moves and we're totally unaware when he's moving. But we got home and we started seeing pictures posted on Facebook and all of that of the city of Arlington. We've got all sorts of posts that we follow about what's happening in Arlington. And I hadn't seen anything on this. It was actually constructed, and I had no idea it was even being constructed or even planned. But Kay and I went down and saw it yesterday. They're a little bit off center from where the well used to be, because right now there's buildings there, right where Main and Center crossed each other. But a little bit west of that point on Main Street, they built this magnificent clock tower. Beautiful clock tower. And at the bottom of it, it has 4 sides. And on each side, there is a massive head of a lion. And out of each mouth of the lion is pouring forth water from down below. As I stood there, I just wept in my spirit because it was such a prophetic sign of what God is doing in this hour. He's resetting time, a clock tower. He's bringing forth the voice of the ecclesia, For we are like his lions on earth, as he is our lion. He is the lion of the tribe of Judah, and we are all a part of his tribe. And he is pouring forth water. He's pouring forth life to the north, the south, the east, and the west. Nothing will be left out. He is resetting things in this hour. I'm hoping if you live in the area, if you're anywhere near Arlington, go downtown where the city hall is and the library. There's free parking down there. And just look at this beautifully landscaped area of this new clock tower with the four heads of the lions pouring forth a new water, a new life into the city, into the state, and into the nation. The enemy's going to try his best to wear us down. He's going to try to reset times. According to Daniel, he tries to reset time. He tries to reset the laws. We've seen all of that taking place, haven't we? There's a constant attempt to change the laws of the land, away from righteousness and justice, away from the constitutional foundations of who we are as a nation and as a state. But God, right in the middle of it, he plants a tower that sets the time and pours forth his prophetic utterances on the earth through the mouths of the lions of his saints. We're in a good season, y'all. If you feel worn down, if you feel compromised, seek the face of the Lion of the tribe of Judah and allow him to pour forth his word in you once again, to revitalize you, to strengthen you, to realign you, to reset your DNA into his. And then you will be used as an instrument for his kingdom in establishing his kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. God's blessings to all of you. The times are changing. He is resetting them. God's blessings. Bye-bye.